IBS with its presenting partner, the National Broadcasting Corporation and Kundutu, are proud to bring this national school debate among the schools in NCD as well as Lay. Today, as I've mentioned, is the second day. We had Pule schools yesterday, and today, at the end of today, we're going to announce the winners who are going to advance to the finals on Friday, semi-finals and finals. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge our sponsors. We have Daltron, Remington, BSP, Supreme Industries, Courts, Datanets, and the National Capital District Commission. I'd like to call upon the schools, the two schools for this afternoon, Jubilee Catholic Secondary and Yarawari High School. Please give them a welcome. The four speakers for Jubilee Catholic Secondary School are Ian Umo, William Pulo, Loni Haputo, and Leah Kello. Please welcome the Jubilee Catholic Secondary School students. Yarawari High School, the speakers are Valina William, Epe David, Kylie Agebigo, Francis Sarufa. Please welcome the Yarawari High School. Their topic for discussion is right education and life skills will provide the opportunity to earn an honest living. Jubilee Catholic Secondary School is going for the topic, and Yarawari High School is going against the topic. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the affirmative side.
Good afternoon, the educators, the participants, the opposition from Yarawari High School, and the audience. I am Ian Umo. I am the first speaker of the affirmative side, and I will be basically introducing and elaborating on the topic. And my fellow speakers are Leah Kello, who will be, my fellow speakers are William Pulo, who will be talking about the social aspects of the topic. Lonia Puto will be speaking about the economic aspects, and Leah Kello will be summing up our argument. Our topic is right education and life skills will provide the opportunity to earn an honest living. As the government side, we strongly believe that indeed right education and life skills will provide that opportunity to earn an honest living. From definition, education is the process of teaching and learning. However, in relation to the context of the topic, education can be defined as acquiring knowledge. By that, it does not necessarily mean acquiring knowledge in the classroom, but also culturally and spiritually, or any information that is taught that is positive and that can be used in a practical, positive way. Notice that the word right in the topic has been associated and used with education. Now, what is right education? Right education is relative education that best suits an individual given his or her environment and ability. By stating individual and ability, I imply to all persons, regardless whether you are a female or male, handicapped, employed or unemployed, poor. With a basic or with a relative education, you are able to earn, or you are given that opportunity to earn an honest living. Through relevant education incorporated with life skills, it empowers and enhances communicative skills, builds self-confidence, creates articulate thinking, instills cultural identity, and develops talent. Now, all this come about through relevant education incorporated with life skills acquired by an individual. And from this, the horizons of opportunities in earning an honest living expense. For a person who is not given the right or suitable type of education incorporated with life skills that best suits his or her ability or environment, the pathways to earning an honest living is rather limited. He may have, say, two choices, whether to sell betel nut because that's what everybody else is doing, or get employed as a cleaner or a low-wage job. However, compared to a person who is educated with a relevant education incorporated with life skills, the doors to earning an honest living would not be that limited. For example, in most provincial centers, there are VO schools, vernacular-only schools, which teach vernacular or the mother tongue in elementary and then transit on to English. Now, this would suit them given that in the long run, given that in the future, they are able to venture into tourism to sustain a livelihood, apart from just producing or selling their produce in the markets. From the topic, education should not be seen as the key in the form of grade 12 or 10 certificates that will get you employment or job. Many would argue that nowadays you cannot get employed with the secondary certificates, but I tell you this, it's not what your grade 10 or 12 certificate can do for you in getting employed. It's what you can do from what you've acquired in education without a grade 10 or 12 certificate. It's being self-reliant and looking outside the box. It's giving yourself the opportunity to earn an honest living. And that is what education and life skill is all about. In regards and support to the topic, there's a Chinese proverb that says, you can give a man a fish and you'll have fed him for a day. But if you teach that man to fish, you'll have fed him for the rest of his life. Certainly, that is earning an honest living. And mind you, I have used the word earning. There are two things that fellow can use with that fish. He can either eat that fish or sell that fish to earn a living. Therefore, I strongly argue that without the right education, by that being relevant and suitable given the environment and ability and life skills, there will be no avenue, let alone opportunity to earn an honest living. Thank you.
Thank you, first speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the first speaker of the opposition side.
Good afternoon, audience, our adjudicators, timekeeper, and not forgetting our fellow opponents, that is the Jubilee Catholic Secondary School. We, the Yorwari High School from Central Province, are here to debate with them, but we strongly believe and we go against the topic that is right education and right life skills will not provide an opportunity to earn an honest living. First, I would like to define what is an honest living. An honest living is to be fair, trustworthy, and reliable, no corruption or not being corrupt. Honest living is serving others, to respect other people, to be considerate, not being ignorant. The second question is, are there any other factors that can provide an opportunity for an honest living? Yes. Being disciplined, having a Christian family background, a good financial background. An honest person is a person who really sweats to live an honest life. We have divided this topic into 4 aspects. I, the first speaker, will talk about the social aspects. Our second speaker, Epe David, will talk about the economical aspects. Our third speaker, Kylie Agebigo, will talk about the David Epe will talk about the cultural aspects. Kylie Agebigo will be talking about the economical aspects, and Francis Sarufa will summarize everything up. We're talking about the political aspects, and we'll do recommendations. social aspects. I am not convinced that right education, right life skills is the only way to make honest living. There are other alternatives people can employ or utilize to live a good and honest life. Why I'm adamant and immovable is that it is only through right education and right life skills that dishonesty is embedded or rooted within our systems. The so-called educated elites, or who should be living honest living, are using the knowledge and life skills dishonestly to end means. Corruption of any type and magnitude obviously is indicative of how educated people have used the education and skills to benefit their own selfish interest on the expense of majority of people. Domestic violence. Comparatively, domestic violence is rife or common amongst the educated men compared to the uneducated men. And the reason being that educated men try to maintain kind of standard in their lives. At home, when their wives do certain things that is not right, with their philosophy or belief, they resort beating, prolonged arguments that would eventually lead to family breakup. Third point, entertainment. Because the fact that people have gone through some levels of education in their lives, the possibility of adapting to different situations is very likely. Most obviously, you won't find typical village man going to party because he does not possess formal education that could place him in a position to make decisions that would possibly take him away from his family to the club. Lack of education effectively limits the opportunity and ensure the activities are confined within their own territory. However, for education men, he is exposed to vast array or range of information. For example, it is becoming a norm for most educated men, especially in cities, to spend the entire wage drinking with other women, while women and children suffer. Do you call this an honest living? 4, discipline. Discipline is the basis of living. Basis of living depends on the behavior of every individual. For example, when a child goes through the right kind of education and life skills, they are not only learning good things, there are also some bad things that they learn. A typical example would be browsing through the internet and watching the latest pornographic images during information or IT technologies lesson. Being a disciplined person, you are going to be honest person in life and also in whatever you do. Discipline comes together with Christian values and principles. When a person comes from a Christian background, they are likely to be very disciplined because a Christian means to be honest, trustworthy, and reliable. Thank you.
Thank you, first speaker of the opposition side. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the affirmative side.
Good afternoon, judges, timekeeper, opposition team, jury, and not forgetting you, the lovely audience. My name is William, and I'm the second speaker of the government side. I will be speaking about the social aspects of the topic, which is right education and life skills will provide the opportunity to earn an honest living. But before I proceed, I would like to rebut on what the opposition side has said. The opposition said something about being disciplined and Christian discipline come under education, which I believe strongly supports our topic. Let me ask you this question. You think being disciplined and given the Christian principles is the right education for you? Seems that you don't want to answer my question, so I would like to proceed. I have come up with 3 points under the social aspect of the topic. Firstly, I have law and order. Has anyone read the 2050 vision? Anyone, can just put a hand up? Please. Not many have read the 2050 vision. If you have read it, in chapter 2, page 21, of section 2.3.4, states law and order. It states that, and I quote, law and order is perceived as a serious national issue, meaning it is seen or has become a national issue of interest and security. Therefore, I believe right education and life skills will provide you the opportunity to earn an honest living. I would like to present my second point, which is literacy. Now you may wonder why I have literacy. As my first speaker has said, from my team, doesn't mean you have to be educated in a classroom to get the right education to earn an honest living. You look at our society, our traditional society, they don't have any schools, but they don't need to be educated because traditional society, they are being taught how to hunt or fish, and this, I believe, is a life skill which will enable them to earn an honest living. With this, I would like to further elaborate on my last and final point on the social aspect, which is gender equality. In our societies in the past, which many of you would agree with me, men were regarded as the bosses or heads of their families or societies. Since then, times have changed, and since independence, significant gender inequalities remain a concept of Papua New Guinea. With the right education and life skills, the potentials of the female population will be recognized. In the past, as I have stated earlier on, due to the dominance of patrilineal society, which is, for those of you who don't know what a patrilineal society is based upon, it is a society where the man is head of the society. In the past, due to the dominance of patrilineal society in our country, women were deprived of their rights because of the certain attitudes that men are more superior than women. Due to this, women see themselves without potential. But with the right education and basic life skills, women will be able to recognize the potential in society. Therefore, gaining office in the workforce will enable the male population with the right education and the women's rights in society will be known to them, making them aware of their decision making. Before I leave, I would like all of us in the room to please raise our right hand. Just raise your right hand. You see opposition with those people raising the right hand. I believe they agree with me that right education and life skills will enable us the opportunity to have a better living. Thank you, and may God bless you all.
Thank you. That was the second speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the second speaker of the opposing team.
Thank you, MC and the host. Once again, good day, educators, the audience, and the participating teams, and the honorable government side. Before I proceed, you see what our friend did? That was a force. Before I proceed on, I would like to, my name is Epe David, and I will be talking from the cultural perspective of this topic. Before that, I would like to rebut on a few things as mentioned by the second speaker of the affirmative themes. During his speech, he stated that about literature. Well, about literature, about the language. It has a great effect on our culture. Don't you know that most of the kids, even some of us here, we don't know our vernaculars. It's because we are adapting this foreign right education, and our vernaculars is dying out. Which our vernaculars is our identity, is our true identity. And if it's dying out, then what's the issue of calling ourselves Papua New Guinea? Well, I will be talking from the cultural perspective, as I've said. And in traditional times, if you look back, our ancestors, they survive even though they don't have the right kind of skills and knowledge to make life. They don't have, that time schools doesn't exist, but they were able to survive and they were able to maintain the species in existence. That's why we exist today. And if you look at very closely, how they survive is from an honest and fair, just, pure way. Because the way they survive it's from an hard way. And from the hard way, they make an honest living. So you get my point. Our topic is about honesty. So they make an honest living from the hard way. Out from the sweat, they make life. Not like compared to some of the people who are educated rightly, they misuse, they abuse their skills and knowledge to cause such things as fraud, misappropriation of funds, and abuses. And they follow the basic principle of life, which is in the Bible, in Genesis chapter 3, verse 19. Out from a sweat you will make life, God told Adam. And out from the sweat they made life, which is an honest way of life. According to NCATA's Children's NCATA 2009 under facts and figures, about 87% of our country's population are living in rural areas and only 39 urban areas, meaning that most of the people are living in rural areas. And most of them, some of them, they don't go to school because of many factors like financial problem, or because the schools are run down, they cannot attend schools, and like this. So, yeah, the schools like this. So, the traditional skills and knowledge is still practiced today. Most of the people, like me, I'm come from Yarawari. Most of the kids there, their parents are in the subsistence farmers. They produce from the garden and they support the children in their education. So you see, the traditional knowledge, it still exists in today, so it's very useful. And to conclude, like one example, you go down to Boroko for the market there. Nice arts and craft, balloons, and all these things they're sold there. These things are from the traditional knowledge. They use it, it's from an hard way, but it's from an honest way. Therefore, I am not convinced, and with the negative side, we firmly believe that it is not always true that right education and skills will provide opportunity to make an honest living. Thank you.
Thank you, second speaker of the opposition side. Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the affirmative side.
Good afternoon, adjudicators, timekeepers, opponents, and audience. As introduced by the first speaker, I am Loni Hakuto, the third speaker of the affirmative side. And I will be talking about the economical aspects of having the right education and life skills that will provide us the opportunity to earn ourselves an honest living. Now, just to kindly rebut on some of the points that the opposition has made. Okay, those people who have lived our ancestors, they survived with their life skills. Where did they get their life skills from? They learned their life skills and they survived from their life skills. And to refer back to the topic, which is right education, life skills that will provide the opportunity to earn an honest living. These people who are misappropriating money that were given the opportunity to grasp and make an honest living. Well, it's a question of choice whether they take that opportunity or not. Okay, firstly, defining economy. Economy is a social science concerned with the production, distribution, exchange, and consumption of goods and services, using our scarce resources for our infinite ones. Basically, economics is all about choices. We as individuals have been given the concerns to be able to think critically and rationally to analyze any situations that we come across. We go to school to broaden the knowledge that we have and to gain more knowledge so that being educated with what we know and what we will learn, we can develop it more physically, mentally, emotionally, morally, and socially. Okay, to my points. Firstly, demand from workforces. Because of the demand from workforces, right education and life skills will increase employment in regard to the policy and requirements of a job. You cannot go and say that you want a job without papers. You need education, you need the right skills, you need the right education that will determine the kind of job you want. You cannot just go and say, oh, I want a job. No, you need papers. So, like for example, practical skills teachers, home economic teachers, they acquire those skills for themselves and they qualified in design and technology. Thus, home economics and practical skills are part of the life skills which will, in turn, help them generate income to support their life apart from the wages from the government. And again, life skills has saw them through. In PNG, education brings incomes on average 7 times more greater than those typically received by the workers with no education, for example, wine sellers, street vendors. This obviously provides a great incentive for people to seek education. For example, the LNG project, the youth from Tatana that were turned down from getting jobs there. Maybe if they had the right skills and right education, they could have got a job there. People are asking, why bring 5,000 foreigners into our country to do those jobs when we have skillful people? Maybe they don't have the right skills and they need to go, they get more knowledge from schools so that they'll be enabled to work in those offices. Secondly, it will decrease corruption in the workforces such as nepotism, aka one-talk system. Corruption remains the biggest threat and downfall of this country, especially if we are to achieve the Vision 2050. PNG now ranks 150 out of 180 countries in Transparency International Corruption and Perceptions Index, compared to its ranking of 118 out of 130 countries in 2003. Inadequate capacity among oversight audits and enforcement agencies is the major cause. So through education, we gain more knowledge skills to govern our country truthfully. Furthermore, people who have had the right education and are in the right state of mind wouldn't resort to corruption because of the way they have been taught, either Christian or in schools. Lastly, there's a saying that goes, do what you can with what you have from where you are. This simply means that there is nothing impossible from where you are, whatever resources that you have, and the right education and life skills, you can be able to do anything, and that anything can help you earn an honest living. Whether it be sewing, cooking, building, gardening, fishing, those are basic life skills. Basics that can earn any average person a living. PNG currently faces a challenging future if it does not seriously address the education, which leads to the employment demands of an increasing youth population. Approximately 50% of the population is under 20 years of age, and this proportion is expected to increase dramatically in the next 20 years. The development of special youth programs such as education, vocational centers, community development, and economic empowerment should be considered mission critical. With that, we strongly believe that right education and life skills will provide the opportunity to earn an honest living for the betterment of our country, to progress well economically and also socially. Thank you.
Thank you, third speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the third speaker of the opposition.
Thank you. Once again, good afternoon, everyone. Before, like our first speaker has said, she said that, like our first speaker has said, I'm going to talk about the economic aspect of our topic. But before I proceed on, I would like to rebut on what one of our opponents has said. She said that in order to have a job, we have to have some kinds of paper to go and show it to the people so that they'll give us job. But in our societies, nowadays, not everyone are able to complete their educations or learn their life skills because of some factors like they don't have enough school fee that will enable them to complete their educations, or they don't have the resources to learn their life skills. Therefore, right education and life skills not everyone will attain right education and life skills. Okay, with my point. My first point is, right education and life skills is only for fortunate ones, and not everyone will attain it. Nowadays, all of us, every individuals in this country, they have the potential to complete their education and achieve their goals in life. They have the potential to learn a particular life skill and become skillful at that, but not all of them will achieve that, because some of them may be fortunate enough to achieve that, but some of them, they will not be fortunate enough to achieve that. And there could be a lot of contributing factors to that. Like one of them is money. They don't have enough money to pay for the fees that will enable them to complete their education, so they have to drop out. Therefore, right education and life skills, the attainability of right education and life skills will not be possible for everyone in this country. There's no definite indication of what level these right education and life skills are attained. Is it after completing our elementaries, or grade 6, 10, 12, or after university degrees? If university degrees, then what degree exactly? Is it after first degree, doctor, master's, PhD, or what degree exactly? I'm sure most of you have seen last Friday's 4th of June newspaper. If you have not seen it, then on the front page of this newspaper, it shows faces of 3 politicians. These politicians are believed to be involved in corruptible activity. And these politicians, they have gone through this life education and life skills. They are degree holders. They have attained certificates from universities. And I'm sure they are skillful people as well. They have skills like public speaking. Therefore, they became a politician. But they are not living an honest life. So, they are not living an honest life. So, on what level exactly are we going to say after achieving this right education and life skills, are we going to live an honest living? There's no definite indication of what level right education and life skills are to provide an opportunity for us to live an honest living. The public servants, so as bureaucrats, have obtained the right education as well as life skills, but have proved wrong by involving themselves in corruptible practices. Take, for instance, a newspaper article on 3rd of May this year has stated that the prison commander for Simbu province was arrested because he misused 27,800 kina that was allocated by the Simbu government for the prison's 25,000 kina rehabilitation project. This crime was committed by someone who went through this life education system and achieved his goal by becoming a policeman. I'm sure he is also a skillful person on handling a gun. That's why he became a police commander. But he's not living an honest living, Therefore, right education and life skill will not fully facilitate an absolute honest living for everyone in this country. When everyone is engaged in an economic activity like producing goods and selling them at a market for money, then that's where honest living will eventuate, and not from this right education and life skills. In today's society, most people need money for survival, right? Even in the most rural areas of PNG, people there need money to buy little necessary things for survival like soap, oil, salt, clothes, and so on. And so on. Honest living will occur as a result of everyone's participation in an economic and not certain people's participation. Selling greens and coffee beans and so on are simple economic activity that will put people's perspective at the right setting for an honest living to be evident. In addition to that, the deliverance of infrastructural development is very much vital. If we are connected by road links and bridges all around the country, then people will involve in doing a rowing trade, and this will really improve their living standard. That can enable potential GDP or gross domestic product to be economically utilized. When everyone is engaged in an economic activity, there will be adequate money to sustain their lives or their living, and this will really guarantee an honest living to eventuate. Thank you.
Thank you. That speaker of the opposition side. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the IBS school debate competition. The two schools currently debating are Jubilee Catholic Secondary School and Yarawari High School. The topic of discussion is right education and life skills will provide an opportunity to earn an honest living. Jubilee is going for the topic and Yarawari is going against the topic. I'd like to call upon now the final speaker of the affirmative side.
Good afternoon to the judges, timekeeper, the MC, following debaters, participants, and the people of Papua New Guinea who are tuning in to Kundutu TV. My name is Leah Kelo, and I am the fourth speaker for the affirmative side. To affirm the topic, right education and life skills will provide the opportunity to earn an honest living. Right education is our destiny and the prosperity of our country's future. That's our success as Papua New Guineans, and that's our vision portrayed in the 2050 vision, PNG vision. Now I would like to rebut on the points stated by the first speaker of the opposition. Right education and life skills does not tell you how to live an honest living, but it will provide you with the pathway to make an honest living with what you already know. I would also like to rebut on the point stated by the third speaker of the opposition team. Now, you said that right education and life skills is only for fortunate ones. See those living in the rural areas. They are unfortunate given that they do it. Given that they don't have basic services, yet they are living an honest living, which satisfies the topic that they are earning, an honest living by working off the land, which is education that is learning how to garden. I support my second speaker wholeheartedly with the social aspects of the issue. Right education. People become knowledgeable about the basic things in life: improved health and hygiene, law and order, respect for others and properties, peace and harmony, and intellectual development. When people become knowledgeable about the basic things in life, women's rights will also be more visible, and women will be able to rise up and be as equal as men. Currently, some females resort to prostitution to earn a living, thinking that prostitution is the only way. But I tell you now, it is not. If only they were given the relevant and suitable education, incompetent with the skills, they may be able to grasp and make use of the opportunity provided from whatever they have acquired. My third speaker is completely right because, economically speaking, everybody will be earning an honest living with grasp confidently because they have that life skills through right education. People can earn money to afford basic needs and services. For example, informal sector, knowing how to make ice block is a life skill. Or making gardens or subsistence farming to help support the family. Now wouldn't that be an honest way of earning a living? So let's think of how to make the ice blocks more sweeter and not too much on the greener LNG project, on the greener LNG pastures. Not every one of us are going to make it into the LNG projects because we may not be able to have that life skills. 5,000 Fijians are going to come and take our place. Don't you guys realize that? I believe my group and I have convinced you enough that in order to be smart, wise, fair, healthy, and happy society by 2050, we need right education and life skills because it will provide the opportunity for our people both living in the rural and urban centers to earn an honest living. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the final speaker of the affirmative side. Now I'd like to call upon the final speaker of the opposing team.
Thank you, Mistress of Ceremony, and I want to acknowledge the presence of our judges or adjudicators, my fellow opponents, and to your lovely audience. Now, before I proceed on to my points, I would like to state something in rebuttal to our fellow opponents of what they have said. For a first speaker, in defining the topic, you have stated that right education is the process of acquiring knowledge. Now, if you're saying that people do acquire knowledge in the process of having right education, now in today's society, many of our prominent business people or highly paid public servants, let's say they have the necessary life skills and all the right education to be earning a living at that kind of higher position. Now the question is, are they using their life skills and the educational knowledge that they have acquired honestly? Don't worry, I'll help you answer this question. And the answer is no. For example, take law and order. Now, we have had many of law and order problems in our country, and that's reality. Every day, we hear highly educated people engaging in bashing their wives. I don't know why they do that. But they are highly educated, and they have all the necessary life skills and right education. But instead of understanding their gender equity, they tend to go against it. And to my points, I am talking about the political view of this topic. And my first point is the members of parliament. Members of parliament use and abuse their powers to steal from us, the ordinary citizens of this nation. Members of parliament are highly educated and have all the necessary life skills and educational knowledge to be up there. But instead of using it honestly and developing this nation, they do the opposite of it and engage in corrupt activities and steal from this nation. Many of those, our current government members have been implicated by their own corrupted activities, and they were being investigated by the Ombudsman Commission when they came up with the idea of amending the laws, thus affecting the watchdog's responsibility to carry out effective investigation against these criminals. I say they are criminals. They are the most respected people in this nation. At the same time, they are most wanted in this nation. These corrupted activities include the unwise spending of approximately 400 million kina on a private jet, just for parliamentarians only. And the increase of the housing allowance and vehicle allowance, while we are fighting to increase the minimum wages of this nation. And also vacational traveling to and from overseas to PNG, from PNG to overseas. And engaging in criminal activities. A classical example would be the involvement with William Caprice. Parliamentarians are inconsiderate about the majority of this country. They think about themselves only, and they do costly exercises and expensive activities just to satisfy their needs because they have the life skills and right education, which the majority of this our nation, the people don't have. Moving on to my next point, which is networking corruptions. Now, the government has networking corruptions with our statutory law bodies. Law bodies like the Defense Force, the police, the Supreme Court, down to the lower hierarchies of the government. Now, with the Defense Force, a classical example would be the government collaborating with the Defense Force to transport a wanted Attorney General, which is from Australia, who was wanted by the Fijian law for sexual harassment on young girls in the country. And PNG, including the PM and the commander Peter Ilau on board, they transported Julian Moti out to rescue him, just because of networking corruption. And with the police force is the most reliable law force in a country, but they have lost the integrity and trustworthiness now that many people don't trust the law. That's why many people, especially young men, engage in criminal activities because of the corrupt actions by the police force in collaboration with the government and other statutory law bodies. And in courts, most cases, many judges who deal with most cases concerning political parties don't rule in favor of the swing party. Just because of corruption and paying money under the table to in terms of bribery to the judges, they don't rule in favor of the political party. But these people, they are highly educated because they have all the necessary life skills they can do whatever they want in the corruption activities. And just because we don't have, many of us don't have the right life skills and right education, we just sit back and watch them. And to summarize our points, right education and life skill is not the key to honest living. There are attempts in which people can attain honest living. Thank you.
Thank you. That was the last speaker of the opposition side. Please, a round of applause to the two teams. Now we are going to have our 5 minutes question time. A friendly reminder, we're going to have one question directed to each side. So if one person comes and asks for a question to the affirmative side, then the other person has to ask for the opposition side. Okay, so no personal attacks again. Good, reasonable questions. Any questions? Yes, we'll have, there won't be any statement, please, just a question, a clear, reasonable question. Young man from De La Salle.
My question is directed to the government team, especially the first and the third speaker. First speaker, you have said that to apply in any employment, they don't need a certificate or other qualification paper to employ, and not the work experience. And third speaker, on that line, you have said that the job fields are now looking for people with certificate and other higher achievement in education, and not the work experience. It's like you are confusing the people. Okay, apart from these two, the work experience and the school certificate, are there any other alternatives ways that people can carry out to earn a honest living in life? Please.
In reply to your question, like I said in the introduction of my argument, education is not all about being in the classroom and learning the things in the classroom. It's about cultural, spiritual learning. And how does that get you employed or sustain a livelihood? Now, earning an honest living is not just necessarily earning an honest living through generating an income or earning an honest living through, lucrative means. It's also sustaining a livelihood through honest means. And that is what earning an honest living is all about. So you can do that by just gardening or being in the informal sector. That's being self-employed. Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Okay, we'll have the young lady there.
Good afternoon, everyone. My question is directed to the opposition. Okay. The opposition stated that the educated politicians who hold authority and decision-making in our country are partaking in corruptive activities. I believe and I know that both uneducated and educated people practice corruptive activities. The simplest example I could give of our uneducated people practicing corruptive activities is when you know that, like, nepotism is an example, right? Okay. Someone in your family goes out and steals something, and you know about it, and you don't report it. That is the simplest practice of corruption. Okay, my question is, do you still think that only the educated people practice corruptive activities? Because in your presentation you stated that people who hold degrees, examples you given, politicians practice corruption. So my question is, do you still think that educated people are the only ones who practice corruption?
In terms of, from a political view, they are the leaders, we follow them.
Thank you. We're going to have one last question. One last question. Yes, young man, please.
Okay, my question is directed to the third speaker of the affirmative side. You have stated that only those people that you have achieved the high education qualities will earn a good living. Are you really sure that those who completed right education get employed right away after graduation? If yes, then why are many tertiary graduates are still trying to secure a job to earn a honest living at this time? Thank you.
I'm sorry, can you come up and repeat the question again, please?
In your statement, you have stated that only those people who have achieved the higher education level will earn a good living. So my question is, are you really sure that those who completed right education get employed right away after graduation? If yes, then why are many tertiary graduates are still trying to secure a job to earn a honest living at this time?
Okay, I didn't say that you need, sorry. I didn't say that you just need a certificate from grade, like my first speaker said, right? You don't get that grade 10 and grade 12 certificate, you cannot get a job. That is not, nowadays, people are getting people that come out from the tertiary side. They're not gonna get you from grade 10 and grade 12. They don't care about that certificate. They want your tertiary certificate and your skills. If you have the skills and if you have the right education that goes with the skill, you can acquire a particular job that you want to get. You just don't get a grade 12 or grade 10 certificate and you just go and get and say, not that.
To add on to what my friend has said, what if you don't get that certificate after leaving a tertiary institution? Then from that education that you have acquired, you can use that education to help yourself to earn an honest living. For example, for example, you may know how to bake a cake, but after tertiary education, you did not get a certificate. Then knowing how to bake that cake, that is a life skill. You can use that education to bake cake, sell, and earn an honest living.
Thank you. That'll be all for questions. Now we'll move on to the judges' remarks. Mr. Kikira is going to give the remarks for the two debating teams.
Generally, as we are progressing, we are beginning to see more and more people becoming confident in the way they're presenting their cases. Just a few things to keep in mind. How well you present your case really depends on your ability to dissect the issue. One thing you can is you can see from the topics that are being debated are based on issues which are currently affecting the country. The right to rebut, that requires a special skill because you don't, if you are up here, you don't have time to prepare. You are presenting it based on what you're able to hear and prepare at the same time. The next thing, again, I would like to emphasize the fourth speaker is the one that has, I think, a bigger slice of the time. And that's why the role of the fourth speaker is to conclude and summarize. On top of that, we need to see people making more recommendations. What we've done here is we've identified what the issues are, but in order to resolve those issues, we need people to recommend the answers to resolving those issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kikira. Please put your hands together to the two teams, Jubilee and Yawarari High School. I'd encourage the participants to shake hands. We're here to make friends, so please stand up and shake hands before you leave the stage. As they leave the stage, ladies and gentlemen, Jubilee Catholic Secondary School participants were Ian Umo, William Pulo, Loni Haputo, and Leah Keller. The Yawarari High School participants were Valina William, Epe David, Kylie Agebigo, and Francis Sarufa. Please, another round of applause for them.